morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Dawn on VOS TV, your favorite morning show where we bring you up to speed on current trends around Nigeria, around Edo State, and of course around the world. I am Felicia Udeji, and this morning I happen to be joined by a very, very special brother of mine. He is a handsome gentleman, is with me in the studio talking about the very handsome Victor.
Yeah, good morning everyone. It's nice to be here this morning, and I want to greet every of our Muslim brothers and Christians, partaking in the fast, and I hope God grant us forgiveness and and all our desires during this moment. Yeah, good morning to you, Felicity.
Amen, amen to that prayer. Good morning, Victor. All right, so we do apologize for coming a bit behind time. We'll kickstart our morning show with the newspaper review after the short break. Welcome back. It's still Dawn on your screen, the morning show. Now let's quickly take a look at what is making rounds across newspapers in Nigeria. Let's start off with the Vanguard this morning. So on the Vanguard, the screaming headline there says, Edun raises alarm over rising debt service burden. Says debt servicing cost now outsprings foreign financial inflows. G24 cross-border payments too costly, slow. Who is making the statement? That is coming from the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso. Members face constrained fiscal space, Masha says. And other headlines, how we tackled arrested Owo church attackers, DSS witness tells court. 6 trillion naira Genco bailout demand, a heist. That is coming from the NLC there. And for the final headline on Vanguard newspaper this morning, El-Rufai spends second night in ICPC custody amid multi-agency probe as commission raids residents in Abuja. Malam El-Rufai spent second night in ICPC custody amid multi-agency probe as commission raids residents in Abuja. So do well to grab a copy of the Vanguard newspaper for yourself and read up. Let's now move over to our second newspaper for today, which is the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper this morning, the screaming headline there says, how oldest president tighten grip on youngest continent. Our oldest presidents tighten grip on youngest continent. That's the big story on The Guardian this morning. Other stories on The Guardian newspaper this morning says, retract executive order. Pegason tells Tinubu, warns of threats to PIA. NLC fires back at APGC, Gencos over 6 trillion naira bailout demand. NLC fires back at APGC, Gencos over 6 trillion naira bailout demand. And for the final one I'll be taking, Senate grills economic team, considers trimming 2026 budget. The Senate there is grilling the economic team, considering trimming, making the 2026 budget a bit smaller. So these and other headlines are making rounds on The Guardian newspaper this morning. Do well to pick a copy and read for yourself. You have an Android phone, just go browse on their website and click on any of the stories that interest you this morning. So now we'll be moving over to a very special segment of the show. Yes, let's look at what videos have been trending over the internet, over the space, over the social media space during this week. We'll start off with one very interesting video. Yes, the one of Mirabel, a girl who came out to say she was raped by a stranger, all because she refused to give him a number. Let's watch the video.
I got raped yesterday in my apartment, February 15th in the morning. I have insomnia. If I'm not drunk or I can't sleep. So the Saturday I drank and like it wasn't working, but I needed to be high enough so I could sleep. My eyes were tired but I couldn't sleep. I slept around 6 a.m. and around 9 I heard knocking on my door and I thought maybe it's one of my neighbors because it's Sunday morning. Most of them would have gone to church. Maybe one of them wants to ask for something or something like that. I stood up. I was having a headache. I was still drunk and I was having a headache, and immediately I opened the door. I got pushed back. Before I get to my door, like there's my fridge and then a few steps forward there's my door. I hit my head on the door because I couldn't, I got pushed back. I hit my head on the fridge. I passed out. When opening my eyes, there is a man over me. There's clothes stuffed in my mouth and tied, and I was just there, mumbling. Maybe somebody could hear me. But it's Sunday. Most people would have gone to church. Most of them, because even the neighbors close to me.
Okay, so that's the video there. Mirabel coming out to say she was raped by a total stranger, all because she refused to give him a number. Well, there has been different updates on the story because very dark man actually jumped on it, interviewed her a couple of times. Now, the recent update is that she has admitted to lying, that the story isn't true, saying that she is someone who is depressive, she's traumatized, and she does not have any family, only friends. So people are saying that she should be persecuted for lying. Victor, what do you have to say concerning this video?
This is I mean, it's sad to see such a case, because I was not expecting the video to turn out that way, and with the whole drama that came with the video. But right from time, I think there were a lot of signs that gave, there were a lot of things that just let us know that the video, the story was not, she was not telling the truth. And it's really sad it's panned out that way. I think if false rape accusers are being given very huge penalty, I don't think people will be coming out to make false rape allegation. So if we can establish that false rape accusers are really dealt with the confines of the law, then people will not come out to just make random allegations and just think rape is something that you can trend with. Yeah.
Interesting. But do you think that this girl is actually having psychological issues? or it's just for clots?
Whatever psychological issues you have, I don't think that's a good way to deal with your psychological issues. That is a very bad way. I mean, if it was a guy that did it, will you consider if he's having psychological issues?
That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, you later found out that people were saying, you know, she should be, I don't know, assisted, supported and stuff like that. If it was a guy, that won't be the case at all. I mean, this guy is should probably be, you know, in jail or something like that. So she should be dealt with.
So you're saying that she should be dealt with. And I would totally agree with Victor, because such cases, if not properly dealt with, can leave room for other people to bring up such allegations in the future. But if this case is treated with a strict hand, it will mean that other people will not have that mindset to want to do things like this. Well, let's look forward to what the police, the authorities will do concerning this case. This is where we put a stop to our trending and newspaper review for today. Do well to drop your comments in the comment section. What do you think about this particular girl? Should she be helped, as some are proposing, or do you think she should be punished for lying? We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll start off with the discussion segment. Do not touch that dial.
As the sun rises, a new day begins. Wake up to information, inspiration, and intelligent conversations. It's a new day. It's a fresh start. With Dawn on VOX TV. From breaking news to newspaper reviews, we keep you informed on burning issues in the society. From governors to politics, business, sports, and entertainment, we've got your interest covered. With our delectable hosts and our crack team of analysts, we bring you in-depth and incisive analysis of all issues that matter to you and the development of our nation. Dawn on VOX TV is not just a morning show, it's where Edo State wakes up informed. Join the conversation and share your opinions. Join us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dawn on VOX TV, setting the agenda from daybreak. As the sun rises, a new day begins. Wake up to information, inspiration, and intelligent conversations. It's a new day. It's a fresh start. With Dawn on VOX TV. From breaking news to newspaper reviews, we keep you informed on burning issues in the society. From governors to politics, business, sports, and entertainment, we've got your interest covered. With our delectable hosts and our crack team of analysts, we bring you in-depth and incisive analysis of all issues that matter to you and the development of our nation. Dawn on VOX TV is not just a morning show, it's where Edo State wakes up informed. Join the conversation and share your opinions. Join us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dawn on VOX TV, setting the agenda from daybreak. As the sun rises, a new day begins. Wake up to information, inspiration, and intelligent conversations. It's a new day. It's a fresh start. With Dawn on VOX TV. From breaking news to newspaper reviews, we keep you informed on burning issues in the society. From governors to politics, business, sports, and entertainment, we've got your interest covered. With our delectable hosts and our crack team of analysts, we bring you in-depth and incisive analysis of all issues that matter to you and the development of our nation. Dawn on VOX TV is not just a morning show, it's where Edo State wakes up informed. Join the conversation and share your opinions. Join us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dawn on VOX TV, setting the agenda from daybreak. As the sun rises, a new day begins. Wake up to information, inspiration, and intelligent conversations. It's a new day. It's a fresh start. With Dawn on VOX TV. From breaking news to newspaper reviews, we keep you informed on burning issues in the society. From governance to politics, business, sports, and entertainment, we've got your interest covered. With our delectable hosts and our crack team of analysts, we bring you in-depth and incisive analysis of all issues that matter to you and the development of our nation. Dawn on VOX TV is not just a morning show, it's where Edo State wakes up informed. Join the conversation and share your opinions. Join us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dawn on VOX TV, setting the agenda from daybreak. As the sun rises, a new day begins. Wake up to information, inspiration, and intelligent conversations. It's a new day, it's a fresh start with Dawn on VOX TV. From breaking news to newspaper reviews, we keep you informed on burning issues in the society.
All right, welcome back. It is still your morning show on VOX TV talking about Dawn, and I am Felicia Udeji, your host. Now, this is the discussion segment of the show, and today on the show, we'll be talking about the resurgence of Lassa fever outbreak in Edo State. Last week, February 13, the Edo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Siri Oshomole,
last week, February 13,
the Edo State resurgence in the outbreak of Lassa fever, where 6 deaths were confirmed with 28 cases. Lassa fever is a viral illness commonly transmitted by the Mastomys natalis rats, and the highest numbers of cases of outbreak are traditionally around the dry seasons, specifically between November and May. According to data from Nigeria Center for Disease Control, in 2025 alone, Nigeria recorded over 900 confirmed cases with 215 deaths. Out of the cases recorded, 17% Edo State accounted for. The state has been identified as one of the top burden states alongside Ondo, Bauchi, Taraba, and Ebonyi State. Today on the show, we will be talking about these outbreak and of course safety measures that Nigerians can take to protect themselves from contracting this illness, and of course other things that governments can also do to help citizens. So joining me on today's show to discuss this very important topic is a health professional. My first guest is a health professional, is a former Commissioner for Health, Dr. WilsonImogan.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And my second guest is a civil society activist, one who I would like to call the voice of the masses, talking about Comrade Ray Oribabo.
Comrade Roy Oribabo. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here on the show, sir.
Thank you.
So now let's talk about the Lassa fever outbreak. Over the years, we keep seeing these two local governments talking about Asa West and Asako West. These were the local governments that were spotted by the Commissioner for Health as the places where the outbreak currently is. Even record from last year show that these two local governments were still the same hotspot. So what makes these two local governments a hotspot, Doctor?
I thought you should have asked the Commissioner for Health that question for making that comment. However, Lassa fever is a disease that is endemic in Nigeria now, but we have hotspots, as you rightly identified, Edo, Ondo, and other places. Even though Lassa was discovered from Borno State in a village called Lassa, where some missionaries got infected. But, however, the incidence of Lassa fever became a thing of cautiousness when I think a doctor came to bury the father in Ekpoma and went back to Canada or US and died. And they did some tests and there were some issues, and they communicated to the ministry and UBTH. And since then, there have been conscious awareness raising about Lassa fever. Lassa fever is transmitted by the rats, Mastomys naturalis, but that rat lives near homes. And this period of the year, because when you say there is upsurge, we expect upsurge this time of the year, because you disturb their habitat and they have to find another place to go to. So there's bush burning, and they run out of the bush and come into the homes. And then the way we manage our products, particularly this local government you mentioned, drying gari outside and exposing it to rodents. That is one of the main things. Water shortages. There is difficulty with water.
That's true.
So hand washing, washing of plates and all of those things, they become problems. They must say when you want to sweep, to prevent raising so much dust, then you wet the ground before you sweep. But where do you have the water for all of that? So environmental issues. I don't know whether it's cultural now, but attitude about how we handle our food products, particularly gari, that if the rat wee on it, then somebody drinks the gari, you can come down with Lassa fever disease. So these are some of the things. So it's particularly important that this thing is happening in Eastern, West, and that, but it does not mean that we don't have it other places. Awareness, because we don't know what kills our people in the villages that do not come to hospitals. So awareness is very important, and I think the awareness in Eastern Central is quite high because of the presence of the research lab in Iroa Specialist Teaching Hospital.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Now I'll come to you, Comrade Roy. Doctor spoke about the fact that these areas, they lack water, which is one of the major reasons why there is an upsurge in terms of the outbreak in those areas. How do you think government can assist in this regard?
Well, the government is duty bound. One of the primary functions of government, quite very fundamental, is the welfare and the security of the people. And you are talking about water, it's also part of the welfare of the people. The government must show serious commitment, must demonstrate capacity to provide water for the people. Some of us who were born and brought up in the rural environment, these are some of the issues we face. I was born and brought up in Esanad. Therefore, you agree with me that this disease is one of them that have been very terrorizing our people within that geographical location. Since 1969, when this disease was first discovered in the village Lassa, far away Borno State, But because of the commitment, the research institution we have in Edo State, they were able to discover that this Lassa have a base. They were able to trace it there. Even after that, it became an issue, especially from the Esan nation, became an issue to us. That, as of today, I was surprised you did not mention Esan West.
I did.
Esan West and Esan Central. No, Esan West, Esan Central. Okay. Iroa, Ekpoma. These are some of the major focus now. And I just came back from my village when I was also discussing and telling them that we must raise our level of our hygiene. We must. What we have been doing over the year, we have to change. And people were still telling me, we have been drinking gari for long. Before you were born, we have been drinking gari, nothing happened to us. I was then telling them, no. Our mechanism, human mechanism is gradually changing because of what we are taking. And I told them, in those days, we were taking natural food. Now, there are modified food that can also weaken your system. I am not a medical practitioner, but I'm aware there are some our intake of, we are no longer taking more natural food now. Vegetables are no longer natural. You want to take fruits now, they are no longer natural. People are now diverting many ways to make sure that they hasten the process. We are being told now banana, they use kabag or what have you to hasten it. Even the avocado pear, you know, they use many techniques to just say they want to make profit. And I was telling them, these are the things that make our immune system not to be very strong. You cannot say because you were soaking garri, you leave it 10 years ago, 30 years ago, you want to start that process again. Right. It doesn't make sense.
Comrade. Now, coming to, we know that in Nigeria, there used to be waterboard systems.
Yeah.
Do you think government can revive this for such areas whereby they lack water, especially for Ekpoma, Auchi, these areas where they lack water?
Oh, of course. It's because over the year, Nigerian government, with due respect to those who have been there, they have abandoned the people. They have abandoned the people. During the colonial era, if you go and check, I was born and brought up in a place called Uzebo in Igwebe. You know, as I died in Igwebe there, you know, I remember in the 80s, you know, that water was running in Igwebe. I was not told, this is what I saw as a baby. You know, water was running. There's one particular place we gather here in the morning, then we go and fetch water. This was done by government then. We inherited from colonial masters. Even when the former governor of Edo State, Toproerly, he invested vigorously on that. And all of a sudden, the Nigerian government, the governors, the local government chairman, they have jettisoned that. Nobody wants to invest on water. We don't discuss about water. What the Nigerian government is threatening is that people are now resorting to self-help, but they have to dig their borehole. And the government will now come and tax the borehole you are digging. You understand me? The government is no longer interested on the welfare of the people. They're in a hurry on what they can make in the process. You know, government that's supposed to be the welfare, they are trying to privatize government now. That anything the government is thinking about, how do we make money from the people? How do we tax the people? And those are the issues. Government must wake up to their responsibility to make sure that, one, we need water. If in the 80s going up, we have water in Igwebe, I see no reason now there's no water in Benin. When I came to the University of Benin, we were still using water was still flowing. You can see access it. All the areas are still in Benin here. We're not using borehole. We're using natural water that was coming from all this stuff. Now they are no longer there. Government is no longer interested. Nobody is even talking about it. Right, and it's good. Government need to wake up to their responsibility.
Thank you, comrade. Now to you, doctor. We know that the common mode of transmission for this disease is the mastomys, the urine of the mastomys rat. But over time, we've heard of talks that other mammals are still involved in transmitting this disease. I've heard of talks from cattle, bats, and even dogs. What can you say to this, sir?
Well, I don't know. I don't know those ones you are telling me now about cats and others. Obviously, there may be some other mammals that transmit this Lassa fever, something. But the one we know, let us address it. That we have rats visiting our homes. I do not disagree with my brother about, I think that's where we should focus, about government living up to its responsibilities. And we also must tell government, we, not the civil rights people, we the people, they come to campaign to us. We want water. Anybody who can bring water to Esan West and Esan Central will be idolized, like we are now idolized and Toproerly for bringing education. So, there may be, I am not an expert in Lassa fever, so I cannot tell you whether cattle and others are involved, but the ones we know,
the rats,
let us handle it. How do we prevent the rats coming from the bush and staying in our houses, blocking the holes on the door, cracks on the wall? That's our responsibility. But we must have water to wash, and unfortunately our population has gone up. We used to suffer to trek miles to get water when we were young. But now, I don't know how they get water. There should be a response from government. Water board, not water board, Ministry of Water Resources should not just be to look at our rivers, but also to find out how to, the underground water, which we are already polluting terribly, though we are putting boreholes here and there, but we are polluting our underground water. So how do we get water so that people can wash their plates? Because you don't know that a rat moved across your plate in the night and you carry it, you didn't wash it, you put food and you eat, then you will have an infection. Then somebody is unwell, is having fever, very unwell, malaria, and maybe you didn't know, or is even bleeding from the nosary and the eye is bloodshot, and you are managing without personal protective materials. What will you do? You end up transmitting the disease. I think these are the very key issues.
I know that you've highlighted some of the symptoms, but I want you to dwell on that. Some of the early symptoms. How can people know that this person is down with Lassa fever? Because I know that according to reports, these are similar symptoms with other fevers. So what are the symptoms?
It's a bit difficult to say that a man who has fever has Lassa.
Okay.
Because it may be malaria. But what the doctors will tell you is, after treatment for malaria, 3-4 days, the fever is not abating. And we know the pattern of malaria fever. It's there, but it goes up at a time in the day and then comes down with some sweating and all those things. But if the person is not getting well after your medical treatment, the advice is visit a medical facility so that they can investigate the person further. And investigating the person further means taking blood samples and further thorough examination to find out. Luckily, I think they can test the virus for Lassa fever now in Irua. But before that time, the person you have treated for malaria or any other causes of fever that we know, even ordinary viral flu and what have you, when you have treated for 3-4 days and the person is not well, instead is deteriorating, then you should be alarmed to go to a higher center. Any doctor should be able to refer to a higher center for further care, because the person's life is in the air. By the time he starts bleeding from the nostrils and bloody stool, then the person is becoming terribly ill.
So bleeding from the nostrils and terrible
bleeding, yes, bleeding. If there's blood in stool, in a fever that is not remitting, that does not mean that it could not be what they call enteric fever, dysentery, and all those things. But then the person will show also evidence of being very unwell. Malaria, I don't know how to explain malaria now. Yes, severe weakness. And you will also know that the fever is not responding to any therapeutic agents. Then,
so like how many days? How many days?
Well, you said about after treating for 3-4 days.
3-4 days.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, doctor. Now I'd like to come to you, Comrade Roy. Over the years, there have been reports that one of the major things that causes this outbreak year in, year out is poor funding from government. In terms of, they made mention of vaccines not being readily available. So how do you suggest that government can tackle this as a civil society activist?
Well, government must be very proactive. Proactive in the sense that, one, we are talking about funding. It is the direct responsibility of government to provide our funds. At least there are some even international donors who have over the years shown love to Nigeria government. I think Nigeria government should immediately also reach out to international donors. Is key. And quite also very important and fundamental is that we must, the enlightenment process, they must increase it. Government must increase it. This is not time for. I saw the commissioner of health in Edo State talking to us. I said, well, that was good, but he can take it to the next level. Reach out to the interiors, because if you take a critical look at it, these diseases reside in the interiors. It's terrorizing the people in the interior. Therefore, the government will mobilize resources including human resources to the interiors, so that people will know. One, people need that awareness. Once that awareness is high, funding will be secondary. Okay. Even the awareness also needs some funding to motivate it. You are sending personnel to the interiors, the village. You are coming to my community, who are doing now. The last community in this and that, where you are navigating a Delta state. People need to be mobilized to that place. It's going to cost money. Resources will also need to be available. Therefore, take it to the interiors, enlighten them. It's not the one we'll be doing at the headquarters in Benin City. As I said, I appreciate their coming out, but they must take it to the interior. Let the people who reside in the interior be aware that these are the dangers, this is where we are now, this is where we are coming from. By that, those guys, those persons, we from at that level, we are now aware. It will be easy for we to withstand it. You understand? Because ignorance is no longer an excuse. People must be carried along. People must be listened to. And they are supposed to, not just symposium, one-on-one interaction with those who reside, the rural dwellers, so that they know the danger inherent in this disease. The whole world is bothered about it. I think 2 days ago I was listening to international news. I also heard about it that Nigeria need to be very concerned. We from Edo State, since it's not being rooted in Edo State, and the reason why it's rooted in Edo State, especially within the Asian people, is because of lack of water. There's low water in this and that. That have been an issue we have been advocating for, so that let there be water in this and that. There is high level of water shortage in this and that. Even within the campus and outside the campus, you go to the river. These are the issues. When government raised that to say let there be water, I think it will be easy for we to confront, to tackle it. For now, government need to say, but they need that funds. Even as of today, now Nigerian government, we have been told that state governments are becoming very rich now. They have too much money. After the removal of subsidy, we have been told that they have too much money. Therefore, we don't need the excuse for them. Those money need to be adequately utilized for the people.
Okay, thank you so much, Comrade.
I think I want to add to what he has just discussed. You see, when we say government, it's too loose. You mentioned the Edo State Government, fair, and federal government. The local governments, they also have funds. The local governments should do the campaign. The state has come out to say Lassa fever has become resurgent again in Edo State. Where are we having it? So and so place. The local government has public enlightenment units in their health departments to meet with the people. So the funding should not be one place. The state government bring funds. There should be a basket of funds which will be used for this campaign. You are doing a beautiful job raising this awareness. Those who will watch will have some ideas about the preventive measures. But there are health officers, there are health education officers, there are PHC officers, and there are PHCs in every ward in the state. So those PHC officers should be alive to their responsibilities, because at the end of the day, they are even at risk. Because if a health practitioner is managing a man with Lassa fever, you do not know that it's Lassa, and you didn't wear your protective equipment, you may also come down. Some health practitioners have died.
Thank you, Doctor. Now let's come to the health practitioners themselves, because like you said, that IRA is one of the facilities, IRA Teaching Hospital is one of the facilities for treating this disease. How can an individual, let's say I suspect I have these symptoms, how do I identify the hospitals that have the capacity to treat these diseases?
Well, unfortunately, our health system is non-functional. That is why you are talking of identify the hospital that has capacity. I just said here, by law, and I know that there is PHC center in every political ward. Okay. That means 192 primary health care centers, who should be adequately funded. Well, back to your funding. to have the number of nurses, adequate number of nurses, and community health extension workers who will carry the message to the people. If you have symptoms of Lassa in Benin, you won't begin to run to Irua to go and do tests. You will inundate the place. It's by referral. You see, so if you are not well, see the next healthcare provider. If it's a nurse in your PHC or the general hospital near you, then they can now refer. It's not going to be easy for every fever that didn't respond to malaria treatment in 3-4 days. We now know that there are a lot of fake and adulterated drugs. So they will take it and go. And they say, okay, I'm not responding. Doctor say on television we should go to Irua. No, you will overburden Irua and it will crash. Okay. So it's by referral. All right. High index of suspicion.
All right, so thank you so much, Doctor. Now, to wrap this up, I would like to ask, Comrade, as a civil society activist, how do you encourage people to take what preventive measures do you encourage people to take to protect themselves in this period?
One, hygiene. The hygiene, they won't take it very serious. This is not time to be waiting for government. Jokingly just now before we entered the studio, the former commissioner was telling us that is it the government that will tell you to take care of your environment? How come the rats are pumping into your houses, you have refused to want to act? Is it the government that will tell you you don't need rat in your house? First and foremost, any rat, don't be saying that this rat, I'm used to this rat. Any rat you see now is a suspect. Wow. Therefore, you just, decide on any rat because this is not time for you to see rat. In my house, if I see any rat now, I cannot sleep, you know. It's a point of duty. Once I see rat, I look at rat now as a terrorist. The way I look at Boko Haram, that's how I look at any rat. Any rat that come around with him, my radar is gone. And I expect all Nigerians will also be very bothered. I don't people must also be bothered. Don't give any rat opportunity. And you also, the issue of water, that anything you are doing, you must be able to wash your hands at any given time, you know. I think this studio, you can also do that for us. When we are coming, we are leaving. Let's all have a pot, we can also wash our hands, you know. That's a part of the hygiene process we are talking about. Anything you are doing, just be very serious, be bothered. And those who say it, there are many ways. In those days, when the rural dwellers there, when we are finding out Gary there, we put it on the plate, then we lie. Now, they don't allow it to dry. What they do now is that they just do it a few seconds and come and spread it on the sun. And in that process, the rats will invade it, they are not bothered. You understand, they are not bothered. That's the reason why some of us, I find it difficult to want to even take Gary to eat Gary. That's a problem. I look at it, if I want to I usually tell my wife, go and refry that Gary before we use it. Because the fear is if you go to the interior, you see the way they not fry Gary. It's not what we are used to. You know, they just do it and come and spray something outside.
Quick money.
Yes, because they're in a hurry to do it. And it's a failure of the system. It's the failure of government that you are not saying that. We're talking about drugs just not being effective, high level of fake drugs because of the government have abandoned their responsibility. Because government is supposed to fast track all this. They are not doing it. You praise person there, they want to make their own personal resources and their personal to the detriment of the people.
Thank you so much, comrade. Now, back to you, doctor, to wrap up. How affordable is the treatment of Lassa fever to ordinary Nigerians?
It is not affordable. It's very, very expensive. Very, very, very. That you talked about vaccine. There is no, the vaccines are still undergoing trial, and then there's no universal vaccination. So it's treatment. And the treatment is expensive. It's hospital-based. And ribavirin, the drug that is being used, is extremely expensive. Very, very expensive. So, we are not talking of the ordinary Nigerian now, although it's the ordinary Nigerian that has a problem. But Irua Specialist Teaching Hospital should be adequately funded to handle cases that are referred to them because no individual can afford the treatment. That is the issue. There are so many things that go into it, but the main drug is expensive. Thank you.
So what you're saying is that government should subsidize the treatment?
You see, I'm not saying government should subsidize the treatment. They should fund the treatment process. If that means making it free, subsidizing it, that is that is their business. But there should be adequate funding so that if anybody comes in contact with Lassa fever, we say, okay, the treatment is free, and the person goes to take the tablets, and I don't know how they do it now, but take the tablets, and then hopefully we recover.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much to my very special guest for joining me on the show this morning. We've been discussing the topic Lassa fever resurgence outbreak in Edo State, specifically in Esan West and Esakon West local government areas of the state, looking at safety measures that citizens, Nigerians can take to protect themselves, and if by any chance a person has contacted the disease, what can be done. So do well to drop your comments in the comment section. We would love to read from you this morning. So with that, we'll bring our discussion to an end. Up next is our sports segment. Stay tuned.
Welcome to another exciting world of sports. It's another weekend, and of course, the weekend is already rolling. And when it comes to a weekend like this, sport enthusiasts are always on the edge of their seats. And of course, it's looking very good this morning. And of course, we are going to start from the home scene. Yes, Benin City, the Edo State capital. We come alive today with the opening ceremony of the second edition of the Niger Delta Games. After weeks of preparation by athletes and officials from the 9 states that make up the Niger Delta region, attention will be shifted to Samuel Ogbemundia Stadium later this evening as activities marking the second edition of Niger Delta Games will take the center stage. The 9 participating teams were grouped into 4 fixtures for a schedule of 4 games per day. The competition will feature athletics, boxing, handball, Scrabble, chess, swimming, taekwondo, tennis, weightlifting, and wrestling. The games will be hosted in 4 centers and will come to an end on the 27th of this month. Moving on to national sports, Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, has said that the fate of the Super Eagles in the 2026 FIFA World Cup rests with FIFA amid protests over DR Congo alleged use of ineligible players in AFCON playoff final. Diko stated this in an interview with journalists after briefing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday at the presidential villa informing the president of the achievements of the National Sport Commission and the projection for 2026. He highlighted 2025 milestone to include 375 medals in international competition and injection of 50 billion naira. Now moving to the Nigeria Professional Football League, where exciting matches will, of course, grace our screen this weekend. Of course, in Kano Pillars, we host Economy Warriors. Castina United, we take on Enugu Rangers, while Abia Warriors will be at home. And, of course, we take on Kwara United. It will be a serious battle between Ikorodu City and Bayelsa United in Lagos, while Kunhalfat FC we take on Niger Tornadoes. Nasarawa United, we host our own Dali Bender Insurance in Lafia. Plateau United, we take on Shooting Stars of Ibadan. Rivers United, we take on Eyimba of Aba, while Wiki Tourists, we take on Remo Stars right there. So it's going to be a serious battle as far as the Nigeria Professional Football League is concerned this weekend. And now let's head straight to the continent of Africa. Yes, African football. The last may not have been heard of the 2025 FIFA 2025 AFCON. I'm talking about the competition hosted by Morocco. The Moroccan court has sentenced 18 Senegalese football fans on Thursday to prison terms ranging from 3 to 12 months over charges of hooliganism in last month's AFCON Cup of Nations held in Rabat. The group had been in pre-trial detention since January 18, the day of the heated AFCON final, in which Morocco lost to Senegal by a goal to nil. The Moroccan prosecution sought a 2-year maximum penalty for the fans, noting that the defendants had deliberately sought to disrupt the game. It will be recalled in the said match that Senegalese supporters attempted a pitch invasion while Senegal's players halted the game for nearly 20 minutes to protest a late penalty awarded to Morocco. So that will be the size of the sports news we have for you from the ever-exciting world of sports this morning. And of course, our morning show continues with Felicia Udeji.
Thank you so much, Austin Ayeni, for that wonderful sports segment. Before we wrap up this morning, I just want to appreciate those who joined us on YouTube. Private Code, thank you so much for joining us. And those who joined us on Facebook, Stella Gray, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Destiny Oganetega, Endurance, Giator, Jane, Awunlika, and every other person who joined us on the show this morning. Till next week, I remain your host, Felicia Udeji, saying bye for now.